of other universities that are going through the same process of what does internationalization really mean and how can we make it a reality at our campus, we decided to become part of, we were one of 7 universities, 6 from the United States, 1 from Mexico, that went through a 16 to 18 month review and assessment of every international activity or program you've ever sponsored, and then to engage all the stakeholders of the university, the faculty, the deans, students, in this process. And there were 5 subcommittees set up. There were critical questions regarding what is our mission, what is our vision, what is our structure, what are our policies, what are the curriculum options, what kind of study abroad programs do you have, what is your culture. And after all that, there were 96 recommendations. Each subcommittee, of which you chaired one, came up with a specific report. Those recommendations were incorporated into another report, and the bottom line is that we now are working to put together a 5-year strategic plan so that we can have both short, medium, and long-term achievements. Every year we have a work plan, and we are tackling 1 or more of those recommendations. And it's not just one office, because this is a key part. When I say involving all the stakeholders, that means everybody who's responsible at the university, whether you're in academic affairs, student affairs, and external grants,
not just
or
an
a dean,
office.
that we all work together. And that was the greatest challenge, how we can work together as a team. And it still is a challenge because it's not easy. Everybody is used to doing work the way we've always done it, and it's very hard to change a culture, to change how you go about doing your business, and how you, as academics or policymakers like to say, how do you think out of the box? How can you think how you're going to integrate an international dimension, an international perspective, or a multicultural perspective of from your own country, your own state, or another region into the teaching and learning process. So this is going to take time, and we want to thank the ACE for helping us to do this, because I think it was a great contribution to everyone who was able to participate.
Let's go back to the ACE's recommendations. Which were the ones accepted or promoted by the Chancellor to be worked this next academic year?
Okay, well, we're still in that process, but I want to answer also in terms of the strengths. And one of the strengths, and I will answer your question, but one of the strengths is that the progress UNI has already made, that we have a long history of international initiatives. And this year we are going to be focusing on solidifying the international study abroad program for our students in particular, and working to increase international exchange of students coming to UNI, putting together the infrastructure that is necessary and the academic advising that is necessary for the students so that we can increase our numbers. Secondly, we are working to expand the number of foreign languages in addition to English and Spanish that are available to our students. I mentioned we're going to be offering Mandarin Chinese. We already have Portuguese as critical need languages. Thirdly, we're going to be focusing on identifying more international grants, not only from the federal government, but from the private sector that can help us internationalize, because this is not, it's not cheap, and we want to enable more students, minority students in particular. A majority of our students are on Pell Grants, and so not everybody can receive a Gilman grant, but everybody is entitled to have an international opportunity. And I should mention, you know, we established a Rotaract Club at our university. We're the first of the Ana G. Mendez system to do so, so that many students can have community service opportunities right here in Puerto Rico. And we're also promoting the Peace Corps, so that our graduate students can have that experience, that service experience. So I think those three areas, plus solidifying our existing agreements. That was one of their recommendations. We already have a lot of signed agreements, but what are you doing with them? So we're going to work with our deans to prioritize them, and which of the 10 agreements do we we really want to focus on, so that we can get the student exchange and the faculty exchange in place and benefiting the students now.
Let's go back to language learning, because one of the most cherished projects by the Chancellor is the Multi-Language Institute,
yes,
which is also part of this internationalization project. How do they relate?
Well, they directly
directly
relate. Now, the funding that for our Multi-Language Learning Center, as it's called, came from the Department of Education. So its primary purpose, well, they have several foci purposes, but is to strengthen both English and Spanish language learning, but is also to teach world languages, and world languages are what we mention as the critical need languages. And by those we mean Arabic, we mean Hindi, we mean Mandarin Chinese, Turkic, Portuguese, all of the languages that are not your normal Romance languages of French, German, Spanish, so forth. And through our Fulbright scholars, we've been able to have them teach those languages as well as use their linguistic expertise in developing the center. And so I know the Dean of Social Sciences, Dr. Zanabria, is very committed to this also, and we're looking to ways to increase the number of professors. We're teaching Arabic right now also. We're looking to increase the number of professors who can help us to expand the language offerings.
Let's talk about your most rewarding projects during the last 2 years. Which have been the most rewarding projects, the most cherished one by you in this internationalization project?
All right. Well, not to sound duplicative, but I think working with the Fulbright fellows, scholars, and the Humphrey Fellows, and bringing them to the Universidad del Este to share the history of their country, their culture, their languages, has been so rewarding. I mean, remember when we had the Egyptian scholar, Najwa Meghed, who is a great authority on education, and she asked the students, how many of you would like to speak Arabic? And out of 150 students, practically every hand, went up. I mean, there's this great untapped need and interest among our students. And secondly, is establishing a firm structure for international study abroad programs and student exchange. I think becoming a member of the International Student Exchange Program, and we're going to look at other third-party providers like ISA and CIEE, and I think working with them has probably been the second most meaningful accomplishment that we've had.
And unfortunately, we have run out of time. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. Great. Thank you.
Amigas y amigos, se nos ha terminado el tiempo. Los invito para que compartan sus recomendaciones sobre el programa enviándolas a nuestro correo electrónico que aparece en pantalla y además para que nos acompañen la próxima semana. Que tengan muy buenas noches.